preemptive.
Gold.
All right,
Sorry.
we can call the meeting to order. It is now 6:04 at the December 11th meeting, and we can rise to say the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Quick little roll call for our attendees tonight. Full house.
I know. Everybody's here. Kate Beauplan, Megan Wicks, Kathy Grant, Arka Kalwara, Valerie Musciano, Suzanne Miller, Rachel Ricard. Also present, Scott Fetter and Amy Cefaletto. Myself.
I will say our mission statement. The Voluntown Board of Education's mission is to provide our students the skills essential to reach their highest potential in a safe environment for learning as they aspire to become responsible, respectful, and civic-minded members of society. We commit to help educate, challenge, and inspire each child to excel as lifelong learners who can adapt constructively in an ever-changing, multicultural, and technological world. These are strong, aren't they? Bar and beard, everyone. Yeah. So if I look like this, that's why. I'm not having an episode on live TV. We're all good. So we should have a pretty efficient meeting tonight. I think it's, we've got, the highlights are including the little intro, soft touch of the budget. So that's probably the most highlight, but other than that, we don't have any public comment or guests, so we can move along to the consent agenda. We're all comfortable with that. Do we have a motion to approve it as presented?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard? Motion passes. Okay, we'll move along to the reports and updates, starting with Mr. Better.
All right, so transportation update is quick today. Basically, if you know anyone who is interested in becoming a bus or van driver, sign them up. We're still short. We're making it work, but we're short, and you can always use the help. I know that.
Positions, 1, 2 positions?
As many as you want.
Yeah,
Give me 6 people, hire 6 people.
Okay, yep, okay, gotcha.
We don't need 6, but I'll keep them on the back burner.
Yeah.
So I know Amy will probably talk about this, but the choral concert was too darn cute. Kindergarten through 3rd graders are just adorable. And they do such a great job up there. And that's just, like holiday season, kids make it, And so, and Megan just said it before, the way they were dressed.
Throw some bells and a hat.
Yes.
Yes.
Props and a song.
Yes.
And it's a packed house, it's so well run. I loved at the end, so I had not seen this before, at the end of each grade level, if you've never been, they invite the parents up of that grade level of kids to come up to the front before they move to the next group. Because everyone, if you don't do that, they're just fighting for the seats, and it's just so smart. So really well done, kudos.
Yeah, even having that row so that the parents can sit up there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
that's
I
like.
think Amanda saw that from
It's
Ben, that was
amazing.
our old music
Yeah.
teacher.
It's
Love
just
that,
so
yeah.
smart, but just, that was a lot of fun, so.
Amanda does an amazing job and the whole staff,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of
Good
work,
show.
right? It's
Yeah.
just corralling just all those little.
Yeah, it's like a
Elves.
well-oiled machine. I
It
mean, I
is.
didn't even see the kindergartner, you posted the pictures of the kids, and I'm like, how did I dropped her off at the door, and the next thing you know, she's up there, but the pictures were taken, I'm like, how did
They're right, the
Like,
pictures in the
I'm
back.
like, how did all that just happen? And I'm just sitting here.
It's really good. Kudos to
It
you
was
and your team,
amazing.
and
It's
they
great.
did a fantastic job.
I was was mentioning it to Scott earlier that, I wasn't there and it was my first year not being there. And I remember I saw a video, I was like, oh my gosh, like, so cute, I'm so sad I missed it. But when I would post things to my own page, people in the community, you know, that grandparents or whatever, they're just so overwhelmed with joy of just seeing that one thing. And I was like, I had invited a few different people I knew in town that would enjoy it, you know, and they were so grateful to be invited and all that stuff. And we were saying that, you know, how cool would that be if we, you know, just brought the senior center, or just put the invitation up at the senior center and just make it a little bit more of a, like, you know, a engagement with the whole community, because it's such a beautiful thing,
Yeah,
you
a
know?
little separate section for them to sit,
Yeah.
escorted by the older kids
Yeah.
on there.
So,
National Honor Society kids need their hours, right?
hours.
Everybody needs hours all the time.
Yes.
Even the high schoolers, even the high schoolers need hours.
I'll send one
Lots
to you
of
pretty
hours.
soon.
That is a lot of fun. So, just let you know, school calendar is coming up probably January, early February. Amy and I have been chatting. We had a really good conversation today about just how to make it work. The challenge of a K-8 sending district to 8 high schools is you're not gonna match 8 high schools. So it's about how you manage that. Looking at NFA's calendar is the first one we have. And NFA's calendar, we were acknowledging, they do a nice thing. I don't know if they always do it, Erica.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you, by the way, I haven't looked at it yet,
Oh,
so I
okay.
appreciate you.
Well, they're off Wednesday Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Which is actually, oh, you always are? Okay, so
Yeah, we
that's,
just have the last handful of years. It's great.
that's pretty nice. I
It's
can't
really
imagine
nice.
anyone would have a problem with that.
It's nice.
But we have to work it out. We have to, you know, try to see where Griswold is and see where Wheeler is, and I don't know if we can match anybody, try to match those three the best we can, but after that, I think it's a pop up. But we're gonna come back to you with a few options, some iterations, and wrap that up. All right, that's coming down the pipe. Budget I'll talk about and new business, okay, so I'll skip that for now. And I'm sorry about this, now the second in a row. February 12th is our board meeting. I don't know how I missed this, but I'm in Nashville for the superintendent's conference.
I'm so sorry for you.
So I know,
February.
I feel very badly about this. I did ask them to move it to Voluntown. I did not move the national conference to
I mean, we're
Voluntown.
going to
Nashville.
Nashville.
Well, we can do that too. I'll get a vendor, we'll be good.
Working on budgets, let's work that in.
No one will mind, no one will mind.
Off-site all in one?
We'll stay at what's the hotel, near the Grand Ole Opry? It's such the G, it's a famous,
Never been.
it's a very famous hotel. But,
Yeah.
so if your calendars can align, if we can move it to I don't wanna miss meetings ever, so I do my best to never do that. If we're able to move it to the 19th, if not, I will chime in, virtually, but I would prefer to be here. Is the 19th viable?
It was okay for me.
It's fine with me.
Uh-oh. I'll give you $1.
We don't need all of us, right?
No, I mean, technically no, but I feel bad if.
That's our February breaks. We have the entire week off.
Oh,
Rhode
ours too?
Island, oh.
No,
Oh,
Rhode
you do
Island.
that.
Oh, no, we don't, no, Mr. Feder, we do not have the whole week. Sorry.
Is that the week of President's Day?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So Brian, I may be away, but
Okay. Are you all right if we do it?
I'm fine. I could probably switch it around.
I'll send you a Zoom link.
I could work too.
I think
I
we
might
did
be
the
in a
last
hotel
time.
room
You
in
did-
New York
you did
City.
that.
Is everybody else okay though? Can
That's fine.
we get a motion to officially do it, then we'll have, and just so you know, if there's a calendar change, the board has to adopt a calendar change. That's my experience anyway.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you guys very much. That's all I have for now, and I'll do, further chatting a little bit down the line.
Leto, this report?
I'm just gonna give one update about high school, so, we've had actually 3 kids apply so far to Ledyard, for like, not early acceptance, but they started the process by December 1, so those kids have gotten it in.
And if they're selected for an interview, they'll go over Christmas vacation week, and they'll go interview there, sometime around that time frame, and they should know then by January if they get accepted. So they do the rolling admission, but they encouraged all of them, like, if you really wanna come here, then you go for the initial start, so.
The Voluntown program?
Oh, yeah, so, I mean, hopefully, the kids those three seem like they really wanna go there. And then really right now, top heavy for us is NFA, this year, so it fluctuates every year. This year happens to be an NFA year, where a lot of kids are wanting to go art club and who went on that trip? There's art club and chorus maybe, went to see Allison at NFA, so that sparked a lot of interest because it was a really great performance, so they invited us to come, so we've taken them to go see it. So that just helps with kids like in the selection process, going to these schools and seeing different things that they do.
And getting comfortable on property.
And then going on
schools are
campus,
yeah.
and going on campus, so. Today, the best day of the year is Snowflake Shop. I mean, Rachel worked all day at Snowflake Shop. She was a free employee today, all day, wrapping gifts, lots of gifts, so it was really a highlight. That's kudos to PTO, because that is a really well-run event that they do, so, we appreciate that for
The
them.
phone calls for that, and.
Yeah.
Bring them out.
Yep, so it's well machine. Other than that, that's it for me.
Not bad.
Probably kids
Yes,
left
that's
with
right,
lots of
yeah,
bags,
yeah,
save
yeah.
your bags and send them to us, but no other questions, that's really it.
Sports kicking off great, they had a good
Yeah.
win tonight, and,
Hopefully,
What they play tonight?
Lisbon,
girls were at Lisbon and boys were home.
longest season of our lives, basketball season.
And
For
cheer.
February, and cheer.
Did get a little rowdy in my own head on the way home.
Alright, okay.
Alright, sorry, now you're good. Do what? So, but yeah, it's off to a good start. It's just the first week, second week. Okay, so that's it for Mrs. Ceppoletto, and we got Lloyd's report
Yep.
in our packet, so any questions to share or relay? We can move on to old business. The policy update for 5142, school safety. This is our second reading, so anybody had any further review questions? Or its motion at this point? Discussion? I think we were fairly comfortable with it. I don't recall any questions going back to anybody.
I think we just had to do a second reading, so
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with making a motion on that one.
Second?
Second.
Kathy, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Just want to point out that that removes it was like 3 policies combined into one.
Correct.
And it's just removing 2 other policies.
Do we have to put that in the motion?
Yes, I think it would be what?
So, we're approving 5142, school safety preparation response and after action. This replaces and removes policies 5141, spot 6 on crisis management plan, and 6114 on emergencies and disaster preparedness. Okay, so we got our motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None heard? Motion passes. So, new business. We have policy updates on the first readings for 5131, spot 911, which is school climate. We reviewed this one back in 2024, I believe. But, so this is good to revisit. First reading. I don't think we had too many questions on it in our initial review, but if you have anything that stood out or, as you're kind of reviewing it first reading, come back to us.
Well, new regs that we have restorative practices built into our school plan, so that's in there somewhere.
I believe that was in there, yeah.
I think we have to go to a second reading anyway. do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
So it's just,
This is
Just if there's the question.
unless they're, yeah, restorative, what is it called?
Restorative practices.
Practices.
I feel like last time we put something in there.
I thought it was too.
It just sounds very
I know.
good.
The policy remained the same. It was the regulation that got shrunk from 12 pages down to 2 or 3.
Okay.
2. It's just the so the policy remains the same.
We should review
And,
this at
and, and Dee Dee, the board here in Voluntown adopts regulations.
They have, but, yeah, I think I'll check the policy.
You do,
To make
we
sure.
review and-
It's always been both.
Those are the ones that are,
Yeah, regulations are
and then it's whether you want
meat and potatoes of the policy.
to, right, if you want to verbatim take that to policy or come up with something a little bit more unique. We were talking, it was interesting, we were at the CAPE conference and that's something I didn't actually bring up, but I can make it, just a small update on that. It was great. Kathy and Sue and Rachel and Scott and I all went, so we had like the strongest Voluntown contingent ever, since I've been on the board, and it was fun to kind of just, count the numbers. And it was, yeah, it was a good event, and obviously could introduce Scott to a lot of the colleagues and meet, through him meeting them, then you meet them, and like the superintendent at Ledger was there and wanted to introduce himself and all that stuff, so that was great. No, but it was, we attended a policy breakout session, and it's just, I go to them every year, and I'm like, so you learn something completely new every year, and just people's opinions on it, and just the frequency of updating them, and whether you even store your policies with your regulations, or if they're separate, or if you put them together. And I would just think you put them together, because then you're not, people are like, no, we separate them completely. I was like, like it's just people's matter of opinions, but that was just an aside on regulations versus policy. And obviously there's things that policy really just is such a strong point of what we do as a board, and updating them and keeping them current and all that thing, all the good things about it. But it's just interesting about how many things that come up and don't have a policy yet, like using cell phone policy, it's like that's just a hot button thing that they all talk about, and it's like, yeah, we have, it just depends on what type of district you have and what you have on, or, whether they're gonna give you one or regulate, but they're clearly not gonna regulate, but so many schools have created one and done away with one or changed it 4 times, and it's,
I know the bullying term is now not being used anymore, it's managing
Behavior.
Or something.
Yeah.
something,
No
correct?
bullying.
So we,
We don't have bullying.
yeah, that's gone out the door
Yeah,
now.
I love it.
That'll change it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll change it again, but I think it is more like that
Yeah,
now.
because we put that on our, we changed it on our website and
Yeah.
so on.
It just takes time to change, like, that's just,
Mhm.
like, things like that are just everywhere, and you have to go in and like,
Yeah, I redo it, yeah,
Redo it.
because you have some annual bullying notice, we
Right.
can't say bullying anymore.
Right.
Interesting.
all right, well, that's the first reading. Is there anything that we wanna send out just specifically?
What is it, the only thing, what does it take to have a serve, where we put in, we want to have at least one serve safe person here in the fall?
That's the allergy management.
Yeah, on that one, how many, what does it take for us to have more than one person like that in the kitchen? It says must always have one, but if we don't, if somebody's out,
You have to have somebody serve safe in the kitchen. That's,
At
we
least
have
one.
to.
We wouldn't need more than that.
but if somebody's out, what would we do?
We technically have, we
Right.
technically employ
Yeah,
Tom.
The employee.
You would have to
Then
have
Amy
that.
cooks
Yeah,
frozen
I mean,
pizza.
technically Tom, yeah.
Correct.
I'm just
We
saying,
were
Or
out,
like if we get a sub, I would,
yeah,
we
I
would
was
have
just
to have
saying,
a
it's a sub for Tom that.
have at least one, but
Yeah,
in
you have to
case
have
that person is out, what is our backup plan for out? When you have just one person, that's the person responsible for the problem. Our backup plan would be Tom.
Yeah, Tom came
Okay.
last time too.
He's actually on the payroll, so.
Yeah, he is, yeah. That's fine, just so there's a backup plan, if that person is certified is out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the students with special health care needs that particular policy, it's one of the discussion, obviously, we talked about, but
Yeah.
we could kind of open up if there's any questions to
Yeah.
to bring forth, but you can also always just, if you think of something as you're reading, an email me and Megan too, because we're kind of working on it currently during the month, to bring it to second reading.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, I mean, I think we're good, but on that, and then the resignation removal of board officers, that's pretty straightforward.
That was a problem years ago. We had somebody who didn't resign, wouldn't come, and often we couldn't get it along.
Resign from the board or
From
from,
the board.
that's different. This is only if, this is specific. You have no power to remove a board member.
Yeah,
You
there
only
was
have the
no
power
way.
you only have the power to remove a chair or vice chair.
Yeah.
Or secretary, you know,
It-
that's all this policy is.
And that's why we went to
Yeah, we had a hard
seven
time.
people, you know,
Yeah.
because with, we used that 5-member board, and with that person not showing
No, I
at
hear
all, it became a real problem. He would not resign and would not, there was no way.
you still have no way to have someone resign from the board.
No, but we
It's
had
just- that doesn't
more
exist.
people, so we could
Yeah,
still
better
get
shape.
one.
Yeah.
I think there are ways, but.
So there's a, I don't know if you do the 3 meetings in a row, there's an excuse, in New Jersey, that's okay, but
Yeah, that's on here.
Doesn't work in there, no.
I didn't think that
I
was
know
here.
some other committees in town, yes, they follow that, like the rec committee does.
Yeah.
Could revise the policy.
I know. Look at the policy.
You guys did, no.
Alright, ready?
I'm just dragging you along here so you can just.
What's that?
Talk about the budget.
I'm all good.
All right, so we're good with policy for second reading, again, just send anything along if you think of something. We will move to the budget discussion.
Alright.
Item number B.
So I just have some topics I wanna just go over and kind of prep you for where we're gonna be going. So, when I do a budget, I do everything I can to leave the money what I call on the floor. That's in the classrooms, in the school, in front of kids. That's priority. So if you build a little concentric circle, that's priority, everything else on the outside. The biggest place to identify savings is usually operations. It involves savings that don't harm. That's what you look for. So some key areas, transportation is always a topic for that. How do we do transportation just as well, but for less expense? We'll see if we can do it. The second one is what I've been working on lately, and this is administration of insurance plans. So we have 2 big insurance policies. We have our health insurance, and then we have our liability in that level of insurance. That's done through KERMA, and we have an insurance broker. I don't know if any of you know the insurance broker or not. They handle our health insurance. Our health insurance is done through the state. That's what we do. The company, I asked them this week, have they ever taken us out, I call it put us on the street, to see if we're a better deal than the state plan. This is a normal process for my old universe. We do this every year. Now, every year's a bit extensive. We only moved, in 16 years, maybe I moved 4 times in 16 years. And you move when you can offer the same exact plan for a lesser money. Now, in Voluntown, I'm still learning, in Connecticut, learning how this all works. So I'm at the infancy stage of that. But we never want to remove insurance. That's not even, I don't want to watch this thing where we're talking about insurance. It's not about that. It's about the administration of insurance. So we currently spend $14,000 for a broker in health insurance.
That's Willis.
That's Will's. Okay, so what do we get for the, I do this with everything. What do I get for $14,000? So I'm in the middle of determining that. We use KERMA, and they get almost $50,000. What do they insure? They're very different things. An insurance broker is not the same as your property liability. It's a very different animal. Then you have workers' compensation. There's different things. That's a bigger deal, believe it or not, than a health insurance broker, especially if you're with the state. If you're with the state runs your insurance. Health broker doesn't really do the insuring side, if that makes any sense. That's not what they do. So I'm trying to learn what we do here, what we've been doing. Honestly, is it worth $14,000? And if it is, great. If it's not, then I'll bring that back to the board during the process. But it is a smart move to always consider everything. And people get very nervous when you talk about these things, like, oh, you're looking to make a change. No. You're looking to see. When you review something, it does not mean you're looking for the purpose of changing anything. It would be remiss for a Board of Education to not do this. In fact, I have provided, or I'm providing my old district with a full plan on how they need to do theirs. It's far more complex to do that. But this is how I operate. And one of the things I'll share with you, I do a line-by-line accounting. I was actually showing Rachel a little bit of very minuscule of what I've started doing. Just looking and seeing what we spend money on, and then you have to apply a bang for your buck for the money. And if you're buying purple crayons from store A, and store B selling the same purple crayons for a penny cheaper, you should buy them from store B. And the question I always ask is, are we even looking at other stores? Or do we just keep buying from the same store because that's what we do? That's a very normal thing for an institution to do. They get caught in a rut, they do what they've always done, and that's the way systems operate. I'm not saying Voluntown operates that way, that's the way systems operate. We do it that way because that's how we've done it. You've all heard that term before. One of my first years teaching, we were in a school, and the principal's entire premise of opening this brand new school when I started was called twatty busting. TWWADI, the way we always did it. Bust that. Don't do it because of that reason. Now that might be the best way, but you don't know that until you've done the work. So it's about doing the work. That's the premise of the administration of insurance plans. Not to change insurance. You can't do that. You can't legally change health insurance anyway. So it's just to see, are we spending money the right way? Because if we're not, then I want to move it to where it belongs. And that's in kids. Because kids ain't getting anything from an insurance broker. It doesn't work that way. But we might need the insurance broker, and they might be the best deal in town. No idea. I don't know this company, nothing against them, it's nothing about the company, it's just about looking. That's all it is. And I say that over and over for people watching, so people don't freak. New guy came in and wants to get rid of everything. That is absolutely not the case. It's easier to not get rid of anything. I hope I find that, wow, we have a great situation. But not looking is not acceptable. That's the way I look at it. So that's one. Facilities, another big one. And we have potential grants on the horizon. So we're still learning more about those grants. One we know, I think I mentioned the other day, is called the DRIP grant. That one we are slated to get $41,000, which is about what we need to deal with the library issue we're having. So, but nobody knows exactly anything more about the DRIP grant, other than there's a grant.
Right.
They told you how much you're supposed to get, and then one comment I saw that said you would not have to even submit anything until September 27th. No idea if that's true or not. We have not received anything else. Have you received anything else? I got nothing. We got nothing on this. There's another one we heard about, which is specific to HVAC, that might be coming out, maybe we'll learn about in January. Or not. This is the typical way of government operations. They spit something out and it disappears and maybe it comes back around at some point. But we're doing that. At the same time, when you do facilities, you're looking for all the other things that you can try to manage and save costs, but you gotta be careful with facilities. If you think about your own house, you can put off the roof only so long until the damage from the leak is worse than if you just were to replace the roof. So that's a balance. I'm also planning on facilities to get under the skin of this solar situation we have here. We apparently have solar panels out back. And I'm hearing things like they don't actually provide electricity to the school. Why do we have solar panels that don't provide electricity to our school? Don't answer, it's rhetorical, because there really can't be an answer for that question. I need to see what this is about and what we can do about it, because we pay, and not only do we have these things sitting on our property, we pay for them.
We do.
Oh, yeah, we do. That was a fun line, I'm like, what do we do? So,
Without giving the benefit.
these are the facilities issues that you try to deal with, so we can find money there to then put where? In the classrooms. And you're negotiating with one unit coming up, and you have another one right behind it. You wanna always make sure you're prepared for all these things, and budgeting, this is how you do it. We talked about the business office, so that'll come down the pipe during the next budget cycle, I already told you about that. The next big topic after operations is enrollment. It's an easy, obvious thing you do when you do a budget, you have to look at your enrollment. So we do that. But the big enrollment that we know about, that we will be dealing with in some capacity next year, is the high school enrollment. So high school enrollment and high school costs are pretty much almost out of your control. You have a little bit of control, but not really. The kids, you do not control. So we have 30 8th graders, right, 30, and we have 20 12th graders. 12th graders leave, 8th graders become 9th graders, your N goes up by 10. Even at,
I was like, not to mention the, 16 at tech school that now we won't have at tech school.
We
because of
don't,
Alice,
no,
so.
we still have nothing,
well,
but we're.
we'll talk about
at the
Yeah, no, I'm
next-
just,
Yeah.
like, it compounds,
We
right?
have not
So-
heard anything about.
well, we're waiting to hear about the lottery system to see what that means, so we don't know that yet.
Yeah, this is all like, we don't know where
Right,
people getting
What I'm
accepted
doing
to,
is outlining how this will all play out.
what the roller coaster will look like in
Right.
terms.
So we just at least have it in the back of our mind.
We do
Right.
need to have this, we need to understand that I'm gonna give you a bad estimate of at least a 6-figure deficit for high school next year. That's my expectation. I hope I'm way wrong, but it makes sense to me that that's what it would be. But NFA charges us
On the.
a year out.
Yeah.
So this impact won't hit this year, but maybe the impact from the last year will. I mean, so it's an odd way, and the fact that we don't do it all the same, because the other schools don't charge us that way, this is more complex. So at the end of the day, we will get all this in together. My fear is if we're $100,000 in deficit at the high school level, that comes out of where?
Grade school.
That's the way it works. That's how send receive works. So,
You just know that the following year is a much lower school number child-wise, so it's also.
Right, the
it's-
7th
the
graders.
7th graders, like, you know, not 30, it's like,
Anomaly class,
15.
right?
Yeah, there was only about like 12, 15.
but without a surplus. So we don't carry a surplus here yet.
you're still more.
Because we don't carry a surplus, you can't manage that. No company can manage that. You can't decide to not pay your employees for a year
Right.
because next year looks better. Doesn't work. So without a surplus, this is a continuous problem that we'll always face. And you probably always have been facing.
Yeah.
As budgets get tighter and Connecticut gets tighter, like every other state, these money problems are not gonna all of a sudden go away. And as you get smaller, with the decline in enrollment, people think that makes it easier. It does not. It does not. You have something here I've never seen before at this level, which is absolutely stunningly wonderful. You don't want to lose it, and that's your class size. You ever have 10 kids in your class?
Yes,
You have?
in an AP class.
But we're looking at crazy good numbers here.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps define the district.
And the 7th graders, being a smaller class, if we have a heavy NFA class, we wouldn't actually realize any
2 years.
budget for 2 years.
So it doesn't exactly happen
So
yet.
really,
Right.
it's, you're.
The second
looking
year,
at-
you could be in worse trouble than the first year.
Right. Yeah,
And then the third year, you might see some recruit, but again, without a surplus, you can't manage that. So the importance of a surplus for the district is massive. So I will finish with that in a second. I'm just leaving you up to that. So I mentioned, the other part of high school impact is also student services.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have
Yeah.
it's somebody that comes into town that is going to high school that has,
And that's the unknown part, but then we have the known parts.
Yeah.
Right, so you have the unknown and then the known. The known part, we know next year's cost for supporting our students at high school level with special needs is higher than this year's. So with those two things, the 100,000 that I'm suggesting, I think is low estimate of our deficit. I'm hoping though some things roll our right way. 3 kids go to Ledyard. And Ellis and Norwich, open up the floodgates for us and they accept all the kids that want to go there. those are helpful things.
Is Ledger Bar, is that a state funded,
It's, I think it's like 3,000,
Yeah, it's like
2,500.
3,000. It's very, very
It
expensive.
seems
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, and, we'll get more into transportation, but the reason you guys were looking at what you were looking at mostly, why you would even consider giving up analysis is the cost of transportation. And then marine science, you're sending kids all the way to the ocean for school. But if we're able to,
25 miles.
but if we're able to have a transportation solution, then you don't really need to do that. Right? So playing with a bunch of things at the same time, a lot of balls in the air for this next few months. I'll get to that. But I want to finish with, close strong, with you need a surplus. You cannot operate a system without a surplus. I don't even understand how in the world Connecticut operates this way. This makes no sense to me. Connecticut knows it makes no sense, and therefore they changed the law that now allows districts to have a surplus. You actually passed a policy on this 2 years ago. Didn't operate on it, but you have a policy that allows you to do this. So the policy is 3171.1, and it is called a non-lapsing education fund. That means at the end of a school year, if you do have some money left over because of things, the way things break, sometimes, like we have positions we didn't fill that are budgeted. We didn't fill them, not because we didn't want to fill them, not because we over budgeted, we didn't fill them, so we have to do other things that aren't great, but we have to survive. If there's money at the end of the year, you're allowed to then place that money into a non-lapsing district fund.
It can be used like the following year?
It's your money. It can be used for anything within a framework of education. It's outlined.
Interesting.
Not this.
Here's the way they put it.
Because I think
But
he,
it's up to 2%.
I think, well, no,
Up
I
to
think
2%
he
each year.
moved it to other departments, he paid, I think he paid some oil and
Yeah.
some electricity up front. He always took the.
But all you're doing, he did that because
But
that was
instead
your
of doing
best
that, you're
bet.
saying
Yeah.
put it, hold it for the following year.
Yeah, so it's unpredictable to have to operate that way, but there was no law before that, so Adam had to operate that way.
Right,
That's the way you had to do it. But they created this knowing that the way they were operating could not function, and it was forever. Your function with no surplus, your function with no revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't work as well. So this is not about using revenue, it's about, at the end of a year, building up a surplus, so that when you have a lean year that is out of your control and you can't fix, you can survive it. That's what
it's
this
the
does.
emergency fund.
Like an emergency, but it's not emergency, but it's like that.
Yeah.
The difference with this fund and an emergency fund, often emergency funds have very specific requirements to them. This fund, I'll read to you what it is. The deposit amount not exceed 2%, so you can't go over your budget in 2%. You can't, like, at the end of the year, put $1 million away, right? It isn't a bank account to do that. I don't think we'll have anywhere near 2% the first year. But if we have 10,000, it's 10,000, whatever it is. But every year you're allowed to put up to 2%. So it can accumulate to higher than 2%. But you can't ever in any one year do that. But any expenditure only for education purposes. And the board has to act upon it. In other words, superintendent can't just decide, time to go get those new chairs we've always wanted for his office. No, it is a board-driven expenditure. If we do this, needs to be very transparent. I am gonna be working more on this, with the board's blessing. The only thing I need a blessing, I don't need a motion for, is, your permission for me to pursue this, and, you don't do this blindfold, you don't do it without the town. You don't do that, so you work with the town. Now, it's not the town's account, this is different, but you don't operate that way. I'd never suggest you do that, you work with the town. We have a new selectman, and here's a good guy. Val, any opinion?
Not right now.
Depends on the day of the week.
Yes.
Where did he leave the glass? Where did he leave the glass? He's supposed to go in the dishwasher.
She's at a party right
But with the board's blessing, I will open the conversation with Brian, selectman.
You need a motion?
Nope, just a blessing, head nods, all I need. And That's it, I think this is, I'm recommending you go this route. But I wanna do it right and transparently and not behind any closed doors.
Yeah, I know we had talked about it when we had the policy established, it was,
Yeah.
it's been one of those kind of where it's being used in other districts and boards of finance love it because they can kind of like, add it to one of their line items. It's still theirs to play with, but they can allocate differently and it helped them a little bit like fight for the school.
This one they can't.
Yeah.
This account, the town does not own at all.
It used to.
Yeah, but it's like boards of finance, like,
Even with the Board of Finance, doesn't matter how your township is set up with finances. The law is very clear on this specific issue. This is solely the decision of the Board of Education.
So I think it's not going into like the undesignated
No.
fund.
right, I know it's like, it's got its
So,
own.
but it's, I mean, the money is essentially able, instead of having to fill the oil tank right now, you can hold on to the $2,000 in case next year you have, you need to replace.
Remember, if you fill the oil tank with this year's money for next year, you're just putting a hole that has to be filled for the oil for the following year after that.
Right.
That's all fund balance does, is
Where's this
create
money held, like, is it held?
We open a bank account.
That's where it's, okay,
Yeah,
that's where
open a
it is.
bank account.
Where can you?
I have a safe in the office too.
Okay.
Actually, that's in my safe. I don't even have a safe
So,
anymore.
so let's put it under your
He
office
took
chair.
advice, let it bury it.
Alright, so
It's
this
in
is
a
a
glacier.
bank account, alright.
Well, and I guess the question for
That's
the
why you
town,
wanna work with it.
It's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
a problem in town where the finance board directs the board.
No, I would go through the town to open the account. I mean,
yeah, I was
there's
gonna
no-
say, that's the
Yeah.
other question that I would have when you talk to Brian would be, like, how is that audited by the town? Like, is it, because I know the
It's
town
actually,
does
it's actually
a-
also spelled out in
There's
there.
already your requirements,
But
okay, good.
it's done by the difference here, it's not done by the town. It is the board's responsibility, but the town will still audit accordingly.
Right,
It has to all be audited every year.
Yeah.
That's part of the way the policy is written. It has to be audited every year. So the town will do that. The only difference here is the town doesn't say, well, you saved 10,000 last year, here's how I think you should spend it. You can have all those, in the best of relationships, you'll have all those conversations anyway.
yeah.
Like, we don't need you to do that right now, we'll take care of this. We've never been able to say that because you have no money.
Right.
You can't take care of anything. So it's a little bit about independence, a little bit, but really it's about being transparent and making sure the money's being spent the best way it can for the school and then according to what the town people want, right? So,
I
blessing?
think it's easily followed in a town this size. I can see where it becomes a problem in a place like Concord, this undesignated money.
This won't be gigantic money.
No, well, it will be.
Anything helps, especially in the,
Yeah,
the high school thing is really is a perfect demonstration of the need. Is what do you do when you have a bad year and you cover a bad year? Right, so in this model, you cover the bad year with your surplus, and then you know that the next year you try to build it again, but you're in better shape the next year. So that's,
and the same thing with, we get special ed students in out of the blue,
that's
maybe.
a big one.
We had a big one come in a couple of years ago,
What did you
like
do?
200,000 in
What
the
did you
middle
do?
of the year. It was like,
There's no solution for those
Yeah.
things. Yeah. Anyway, it sounds like good to go.
sounds good.
In that case, that's kind of where the budget's gonna go. I'll start doing presentations, probably in late January, early February. And those presentations will be open to the full public. I'll advertise them and, really I think I've shared this with you before, even during the interview process. I spent a lot of time educating the community on the school budget. And, for example, things that, if there's a 10% increase, let's say, in your health costs, what do you do? Right, so that's about the going rate, 10-12% a year. So, if you have a $300,000 expense of $30,000 right there, can't do anything with it. And then ours is higher than that, so it's more like a $70,000 expense. That's a teacher. So if you look at the things that must be paid, your energy bills, your health insurance, things that are contract driven, you're always gonna be short. I mean, you're always running a deficit. and how we can work with that. And I think people would wanna see that we're working on the operations side and doing everything we can to make sure we're spending money the right way, so. Good to go?
Yeah.
That's that section.
I know. Okay, so, next item under new business is the payroll stipend.
So as we had discussed, this is, as you know, I'll say it publicly, when Crystal left to work for the town, it had a vacant spot. We brought a new person in who's doing a fantastic job. And with a new person, we wanted that person to be successful, so we broke the job up. It was a accounts payable and payroll. And right now, we've taken payroll out of the position, and Darlena has taken over payroll. So Darlena's handling payroll, and Kirsten is handling accounts payable. I'm learning every day, and she's a fantastic employee. We're proud of her here. And Darlena, to do this extra work, the board would be agreeing to giving her a $500 stipend, which is the $6,000 I shared, and prorated when she started. That was.
No.
That's discussion.
Okay. Okay.
So it's the formality after the fact.
And we have the funds in the budget because of.
We have the funds in the, thank you, we have the funds in the budget because Kirsten's not full-time. So that's where the money came out for that, and the money, if you remember, to also cover Learn, to help with the business management side of things we discussed as well. So there's a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, where I'll have more after that meeting to let you know where that's going. But all positive, all right direction.
You need a motion?
Yeah, we need a motion to authorize, the payroll stipend of $500 per month to Darlene Loranger, retroactive from October 1st through June.
Just for this year.
Motion. Just this year. Yep.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard. Motion passes. Thank you, Darlene, for stepping up and adding this to your current duties.
She's bored, she doesn't do it.
Oh, let that woman handle. So,
She asks me about my candy eating.
wow.
Can we talk to her about that?
Maybe you should just cheer your thoughts through it. She'll listen better.
She enables you
You
with
can't
all the
wear
candy on her
makeup.
desk.
Well, look at her desk,
That's what I'm saying, she's enabling you.
we have a rough time.
Got it on recording.
So the last item of new business, we could place this on, we have just, this is a normal time of year where we do, like, to start the discussions of mid-year evaluations. I think when it comes to the board, we'll move this to executive session likely, just so we can discuss all the highlights we have of Scott and make sure that we detail every day he's been here and all of his performance stuff, which he, but,
Good luck.
no, but in terms of a board, the board self-evaluation, we're gonna just go over form, but really, I think it's a little, premature with brand new members, it's like, to not even know how to think about evaluation, but we'll just talk about that a little bit, so. Nothing crazy there, but we'll just start the process. And that's it for item number D. And, before we conclude to move to executive session, just our next meeting, again, is the 15th of January. And we will have special guests for that one, so it's gonna be a little bit more lengthy just for your planning purposes, but it's, the superintendent of Ledyard Public School and principal will be joining us to do, a similar thing that we've done with other schools where they just give some overviews of the school and introduce themselves and some of their highlights of their programming, so.
He's really eager to do it.
Yeah, really excited for that.
Really positive response. Yeah.
Yeah, excited to hear from them.
So January 15th is the third Tuesday, third Thursday.
Yeah.
Third Thursday,
Do we need to do that, Scott? Because of-
Yes, I do so.
Yeah, because you're gonna be going on.
Mhm.
Yeah,
January 15th, yeah. It's the third
we had
Tuesday.
moved it last
Did we
week.
vote
Oh, you
on
did.
the
Yeah.
council?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
yeah, okay, yep.
Okay, so it's to the 15th.
Correct.
Okay.
Also, wait a minute, let me see something.
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well. So we will be getting in some professional development with Nick Caruso, so that's always a highlight too.
So that will be, like you said, that'll be a longer meeting.
Yeah,
We'll have 2 presentations.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, give yourself an hour extra, 8:30, yeah.
Mhm.
We want to take time with Nick, clearly, and hear what we can. So that's good. So I'll try to keep the other parts of the agenda on a slimmer side.
And that was Kate's way of saying, I'll ask Scott to not talk so much.
You get to briefly talk about that. Yeah. No, it's a good time of the year, obviously, it's the start of the new year, we would like to kick off the year well, and I do love the idea of professional development, just because it's a great opportunity for our new members to, I mean, it's always great to hear from Nick Caruso, but anybody from CAVE, it's really an important time spent, and it's just a wealth of information, so it's really great. And even including, you know, Scott's perspectives with Nick's perspectives, so it's great. But I do want to wish everybody an amazing holiday season. We're here, we have the, you know, it's official now that we've had the little kids sing for us. I mean, it's really here, but it does happen so fast, and I hope you guys get some time off with your family and friends, and have a nice celebration, and happy holidays to everyone in the community. All right, so we will,
Last thing is to make an actual motion to move to executive.
sorry, do we need to? I always wonder if we have to do that.
Yes, you do.
A motion to move into executive session. All in
Don't we have
favor?
to include the motion to invite the superintendent?
Right, you're not this time because we're going to review him.
Okay.
So he is not invited, sorry.
You don't want to self-eval?
I asked first, does he want to be here or not?
I know, okay,
I
I said we'll do it in the next one,
Okay.
we'll invite you. So this is just free.
But don't
free
have
though.
Amy in there evaluating me, don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop.
We've already done that.
Stop.
We'll stop. Thank
Oh,
you.
you gotta do the motion, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.